Emotional intelligence is about three key things. One, it's about noticing and naming your own emotions. Two, it's about being able to respond to your own emotions in a healthy way. And three, it's about being able to respond to other people's emotions in a healthy way. In this video, I share 3 activities that look at emotional intelligence from different angles and in different contexts so that your participants can learn to do all 3 of those things. Hi, I'm Kerry Price. I'm the founder of the Facilitators Network, and I use the principles of deliberate generosity to make sure that no meeting or workshop is ever wasted. I've been facilitating for 20 odd years, and in that time I've led thousands of meetings, workshops and community conversations. Now I help other trainers and facilitators do that well too. Humans are complex creatures, and the journey towards emotional intelligence is never done. It's something we're always learning and practicing. In this video, I'll share 3 activities that give people a chance to sit in their emotions and notice them, name them, and respond accordingly. Let's get into it. Activity 1, choose a picture to represent. This activity is super simple and I use it often when I'm kickstarting a workshop around emotional intelligence. I simply just print out a whole bunch of photos and lay them on the floor, and then I invite participants to choose a picture to represent how they're feeling today. Once they've chosen the picture, I invite them to get into pairs or groups of 3, and I give them 4 or 5 minutes to share the story of their picture with the person they're chatting with. Now, what I love about this activity is that oftentimes people can't put language to how they're feeling in the moment. So as I'm coming into this workshop, I'm feeling all sorts of things. But if they choose a picture, they can make meaning from what's on the card. So they might choose this feather card because they're feeling bright, they're feeling energetic, they're feeling like there's lots of stuff that's going to be going on. They may also choose this card because they're feathers and they're feeling a bit soft and vulnerable as they come into the room. Different pictures can mean different things to different people, and that's the beauty of it. What's great about this activity is that by using pictures to help explore how someone is feeling, it gives people pondering time, processing time, and it gives them practice in how to explain their emotions. Activity 2, gallery walk. This activity also uses pictures, but bigger pictures and more emotive pictures. I tend to use pictures from National Geographic, they're like picture of the year type things. How it works is I print out pictures, maybe 7 or 8, 10 or 12, depending on how many people in the room. You only want 2 or 3 people at any one picture at a time. So I print out the pictures nice and big and place them around the walls with a number above each picture. Then I invite people to grab a pad of post-it notes and do a quiet gallery walk, walking around each of the pictures, stopping, looking, being present, and noticing what emotions are bubbling up as I look at this photo. They then jot the number of the photo on their post-it note and just a few words to describe how they're feeling, what's coming up for them. This isn't a rushed process. I allow a couple of minutes for each photo, 1.5 minutes to a couple of minutes for each photo. And then once everyone has had a chance to do the full gallery walk, we start to debrief. And how I debrief might sound something like, go and stand beside the photo that left you feeling most curious. Or go and stand beside the photo that bubbled up the strongest emotion for you. People have got their notes on their post-it notes so that they can reflect on that as I ask the question. Once people are gathered at the photograph of their choice, I then prompt them to share what came up for them with the people they're standing with. Now, if they're standing at a photo by themselves, that's also okay. they can just cross the room or move to the photo next and talk about why they were standing where they were. That in itself is a powerful activity in terms of emotional intelligence, but what makes it even more powerful is if you reflect on the activity itself. What did you notice about that activity? What stood out for you? Often what bubbles up is that people felt different things in response to different photos. Some photos that evoked a really powerful response, and some people had no response at all in others. So this kickstarts a conversation around different feelings and different situations, and there is no one right way to feel about anything. Activity 3. This has to be one of the most powerful activities I ever run when it comes to emotional intelligence. And it really allows people to get present, and vulnerability bubbles up without people even realizing. The activity is called What Do You Love, What Do You Fear, and What Do You Hope For? How it works is I invite people to find someone in the room who they don't know that well at all, and I invite them to sit face to face, knee to knee on a chair. They don't have to be touching knees, but they need to be reasonably close. I then explain that I'm going to give the partners 5 minutes for one person to ask the other person 3 questions. What do you love? What do you fear? And what do you hope for? And the rules of the game are pretty simple. It's a full 5 minutes where one person is asking the other 3 questions, and the question asker can't add anything. They can't add things like, oh, I love that too, or that reminds me of the time when, or, oh, if you're scared of that, you should think about. So it's no advice giving, it's no me too, it's simply sitting, being present, and listening. Now, when you kick off this activity to begin with, it can feel really clunky and uncomfortable. People get the nervous giggles, they shuffle in their seat a little bit. And so it's important to warn people that that might happen and encourage them to settle into the activity as quickly as they can. It's also important to let them know that we're running for a full 5 minutes. So if someone has answered the question, what do you love, with I love pineapple on pizza, then you just need to sit there and wait. What's interesting is what bubbles up in the silence. Once you've let that activity run for 5 minutes, wrap up the conversation and then let people know that now you're going to swap around. So the person being the asker is now the answerer. It's important to point out that if the first person went pretty deep and was really vulnerable, there's no expectation for the second person to do the same. They just need to go to a level that feels comfortable for them. Once both parties have had a chance to both ask and answer those questions, we do a debrief around what did you notice. And what's interesting in this space is that most people notice that they went way deeper than they ever intended to go. And this speaks to the power of being really present, listening deeply, and being there for the other person without adding anything of their own. So what you might notice with this activity is that at the end of it, people are much closer than they ever were before. You can actually feel the level of connection shift in the room. Sometimes there's tears, sometimes there's hugs, there's all sorts of emotions that bubble up that are completely unexpected. And this works regardless of whether you're working with a bunch of serious senior leadership who are not used to showing emotion, or you're working with a bunch of people for whom emotions come easily. It's such a powerful activity that it cuts across everything and everyone. How you debrief these activities is where the real power lies. So people start to notice and name their emotions, they start to think about how they're responding to them. But all of that comes back to the what did you notice in these activities? The recapping and the reflecting is really what makes it valuable. When it comes to emotional intelligence, one of the other areas that would be useful to explore is values, because often our emotions are triggered by our values. So in my next video, Core Values Training Activities, I share 3 activities that help people uncover what's really important to them. The link is in the description below. Go check it out.